Okay, I call this effect Of Course Not. Okay, that's the name of it. And it's based on a routine by Werner Miller. And I'll add a link in the description below to his original performance. And I will also add a link to an entire library of ebooks containing hundreds of mathematical card effects by Werner Miller. So take a look at that. So for this, we're assuming ideally two spectators. So spectator A and spectator B. Now each of them needs 6 cards each, 6 random cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then have them individually mix their pile of 6 thoroughly. And now what we need each of them to do is take a look at the bottom card of their pile of 6 and to remember that. Now, as the performer, I won't see these cards, of course. So for spectator A over here, their card is the King of Clubs. Okay, so they need to hold on to that. And then spectator B over here is the 6 of Spades. Okay. Now, since we all know where their cards are, namely at the bottom of their respective piles, why don't we independently randomize each of these according to the spectator's choices. So for example, turn to spectator A and say, choose any number between 5 and 10, let's say, and we'll work with that. And so maybe they'll say 8. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to count out 8 cards. 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. And since there are 2 of you here, we'll do that a second time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, very good. Now, spectator B, what number would you like between 5 and 10? You could choose 8 if you want, or a different value. You want 9. Okay, that's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Since there's 2 of you here, we'll do it a second time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Not drop the cards everywhere. Okay, so these cards have been mixed differently and independently of each other according to free choices made by each of you. Okay, so I'm going to stack the piles. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just deal out 3 piles of 4 cards each. Okay, just like that. And now what I need spectator B to do right over here is I'm going to show you the top card of each of these, and I'm going to ask you if that card is the card that you noted. Okay, so right here, is this your card? Of course not. Is this your card? Of course not. How would I know that? It's because your card is sitting right there. Okay, well, that could have been luck, of course. It would be pretty good luck if it was luck, okay? So let's try that again. So let's take a look at these. Let me try to keep everything in camera view. So, spectator A now, is this your card? Of course not. Is this your card? Of course not. Why? Because your card is sitting right there. Okay, so this is a simple but surprising little effect. And so let me just show you how it's done and why some of it, I'll explain some of the whys here. Okay, so it is true that you need 6 random cards for each player, okay? And they're free to choose those. They truly are, okay? So we'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, well, the only thing I really need to explain in terms of kind of what's going on here, and this is one of my alterations to Werner's original amazing routine, is I had the spectators mix their piles independently. And we did it by having them choose a random number between 5 and 10. Well, what that's going to do is essentially represent 2 identical hypercoatings. Okay, so a hypercoating technically is where you count out 100% of the cards, but no more than 200% of the cards. So since we have 6 here, we could deal out between 6 and 12 cards twice, and it brings each of these back to their original order. So that's called 2 identical hypercoatings. Well, it ends up that you can actually deal out just 5, and it works just fine. And so to have the range of values seem fairly natural, instead of saying between 6 and 12, they might wonder, where did you get those from? 5 to 10 just sounds more natural. So I had spectator A choose any number between 5 and 10, and then we dealt that number of cards, and we did it twice, ostensibly, because we have 2 spectators. Okay, that was kind of a nonsensical justification for doing it twice. Okay, so what I wanted to quickly show you is why these packets will be brought back to their original order. So imagine you have a packet of 6 cards. Okay, so for example, in the presentation, I think one of them chose 8. So if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's one hypercoating. And then we do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It brings that packet of 6 back to A's through 6. Okay, now the other person had 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Do it a second time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that also brings the packet back to its original order. So that doesn't hurt anything. Okay, so that's kind of a false shuffle for each of these. So whatever noted card they saw on the bottom, it's still on the bottom for both of them. And then from there, you just do everything that I did. Now, it is important to stack the left pile on top of the right. Okay, that's really the only careful stacking that needs to be done. So the left goes on the right. And then I guess I should also point out that I dealt to myself first, and then I went clockwise. Okay. So really, if you just follow the actions that I showed you, this will work now for you perfectly. Okay, and so it's going to end up that spectators B's card will be on the top. These will not be anyone else's cards. Spectator B is right there. And then you remove those, and then you gather them up in the same order that you dealt them, and then you deal them out again. Now it's spectators A's turn. Okay, so you can show them this one and say, is this your card? Of course not. Is this your card? Of course not. Why? Because your card is sitting right here, if I can pick it up. Okay, so you should be able to do this right away. I've explained all of the mechanics and some of the mathematical justification for it working. So anyway, have fun with that and take a look at other videos on the Absolute Math Magic channel.